All right, breaking news, breaking news. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Krod. I'm back with another good video for y'all. I wanted to talk about Daniel Dubois' recent fight with Joyce. Did Danny Dubois quit? Against Joyce in his very controversial but hard loss that Danny Dubois took against Joyce. He suffered a really horrible eye injury, and I'm pretty sure, he's probably in the hospital as we speak. But it just wouldn't surprise me why, anybody would probably say this, but I do believe it myself too, and I could be wrong. But let me
All right, welcome
just
back to.
make it clear. I don't think Danny Dubois is trash. I do believe in to a promotional level, he's definitely a hype job for the Manor, because um, um by looking at Dubois' box rec. um Hold on, I'm very sorry. I should always pop this up because I'm never always prepared for these videos. And plus, I really don't hate Dubois. I actually like him. He's a cool person. He seems like that type of guy to have a lot of potential. But looking at his record, we can see that Dubois has not really fought that many high level competition, or that much high level competition. Here's the first 5 opponents starting up from 2017 with his career. He basically started at 19 years old. Or, no, 20. Yeah, at 20 years old. First opponent, Marcus Kelly, 1-0, TKO. Second opponent, Blaze Menaduo, 3-1, TKO in the second. Third opponent, David Howe. Who the hell is David Howe? Oh, I don't think I've ever heard of him, but he's not that good. Uh, he was a 13-5 KO in the first round of a 4-rounder, and then a fourth professional fight was a vacant WBC Youth World Heavyweight title. Mauricio Barragan. This is a 10-rounder. He KO'd him uh, in the second. Not too much of a big name anyway. He's not even that good of a fighter. This guy's fights were mostly held in Argentina, before he even made way to go out of his country to fight Dubois, and then he fights some bum out of, I think, Uruguay, and then he fights Mark Flanagan. That was a KO in the sixth. So I mean, he's not fighting any high level guys. If anything, I don't even know who the hell these guys are that he fights, but he's definitely a 1-star fighter. AJ Carter, KO. Dorian Darch, KO. Dorian Darch, I think I've heard of him. Yeah, he's not even that good of a fighter anyway, because I've heard of him and he's gotten his ass beat. DL Jones, he was undefeated at the time, KO. Tom Little, KO. Kevin Johnson, which this is the same Kevin Johnson that we've actually seen fight Filip Hrgovic and Alexander. No. Well, Alexander Zakowski or Zakovici. I'm sorry if I've talked crap, or I don't know if I've tampered that name. But he also fought Anthony Joshua, where he got KO'd, and Manuel Char KO'd. Tyson Fury went to a 12-rounder. Which, I mean, Kevin, he's not really like the best fighter in the world, but got beat by Derek Chisora. Jesus, he's losing all these big fights. Wow. He hasn't even won a world title. That's just very sad. KO by Joshua. Andy Ruiz beat him in 10 rounds. Wow. But Dubois beat him. I mean, this is a credible win, but not really. He's basically like a 2.5-star fighter for BoxRec. But yeah, I would kind of put him there because you should be you know, like a really good fighter, like especially coming from like the U.S. But it's just like Kevin Johnson never, come to think that, or he never just came to mind like, hey, like I'm gonna fight like a really good up and coming prospect, and then sadly he loses by decision, which I'm sure Dubois took him down. So I would put Kevin Johnson as a decent name, but not really a big name. Razvan Kojanu, he was the guy that got his ass beat by Hypejob. Not really a good fighter, by the way, but he KO'd him in 2 rounds. And then the next fight was Richard Lardy, which he KO'd him in 4 rounds, but Richard Lardy gave him a fight. That's for sure. And then a fight after that, Nathan Gorman. Don't even know who the hell this guy is. I think I've seen this guy before. I think he got. Oh yeah, I think this guy went up against Richard Lardy. Yeah, yeah, he's not even that good of a fighter too. So no, I wouldn't even put him up there. Uh, you got Ebiziner, Tetith, and Kotiyar Fujimoto, and then Ricardo Schninders. Yeah, these are like all KOs, by the way. Yeah, like not even that much of a name. He's basically just fighting a laundry list of fighters, and honestly, I think this is a good fight for Dubois to like wake up and see the light of his problems of what he's doing, and I think the issue is that you're fighting guys that aren't getting you to that level to make you think about what decisions you make in the fight, because these guys are not even at the highest level to give Dubois the amount of, I guess, like education to be ready for the top guys and good enough for Joe Joyce that beat him. I think this is a great learning lesson for Dubois. Let me explain why I do believe Dubois did quit. And the reason why is because Dubois, he did not utilize any defense. I'm sorry for all you Danny Dubois, fanboys or apologists or whatever, but Dubois, he did not use any single form of head movement, using any form of parries. He was not holding Joyce to a pressure fight where he should have actually used his body as a means of pressure, but he should have worked the body and then worked upstairs, because even though that Dubois, he is a very hard puncher, he still could have used, plenty of body shots on Joyce, and Joyce wouldn't even be able to take him down. Joyce would technically just break out, and like knowing that Joyce is a very flat-footed fighter, he could have easily just stuck onto the outside, and then boom, Dubois would have easily won by decision. So I guess the issue is that what did Dubois not do to make it easier on himself for him to beat Joyce? It was basically his jab. He wasn't utilizing any form of defense. He wasn't utilizing any form of hard counters or even sustaining off of a jab to force Joyce to fight off of the back foot, which I think he should have done that. That would have easily made it a lot more simpler for him to win the fight, because Joyce, like, oh man, I'm very sorry to even put it like this, but Joe Joyce is not that good of a fighter. Let me just put it clear. When you look at how he moves and how he punches, he like I'm very sorry for anybody that's a Joe Joyce fan, and I'm hoping Joyce doesn't even watch this video, but I'm gonna just keep it real. But he moves like a turtle, and I think that with Joyce, he doesn't have the amount of reading ability to know what the responses are coming from faster heavyweights, because we can see with bigger heavyweight up and coming prospects like Andy Ruiz. Well, I mean, Andy Ruiz, he's a superstar, but Andy Ruiz, he has great hand movement. His hand speed is insane. Joe Joyce would not be able to handle a guy like Ruiz. And I'm just saying that because Ruiz, he knows how to catch you. he knows how to make you feel uncomfortable when he knows that all he has to do is just punch you a couple times, and then once you break down, boom, he just goes straight. Yeah, he goes straight in, or he goes like basically he comes straight after you for the KO, and he's more of like a volume puncher to utilize his offense as a means of a defense, because he's obviously using the Mexican style, but he's brawling with you, so he makes it more of like a challenge for you to make things more difficult on your behalf to not be able to actually box him. Which, I mean, even if Ruiz actually did that, it would actually make it a lot more easier on his behalf going up against taller fighters like Anthony Joshua, where all he really has to do is just keep jabbing, even though that the other, you know, opposing fighter that's taller than you is going to use their jab on you, but all you need to do is just find that one clear shot, and then boom. Once you break them down, then it's already easier for you to take them out. So for Dubois, he didn't use any of that. He didn't use his height as a means of an offense to use it as a first priority to take Joyce to a much more difficult means of conditioning and a means of frustration, because Joyce, he can punch. Let's not let's not make it seem like Joyce is just a pillow-fisted fighter. He can really throw a punch, but Dubois, he can do the same thing too. And I mean, honestly, like Dubois, he could have made this fight a lot more closer if he wasn't taking so many jabs from Joyce. And that's why so many people probably say that Dubois quit against Joyce, because once Joyce hit him with those crazy mean hooks and jabs, Dubois, he just slowly picked him, like he slowly got picked apart, and I felt like Dubois, he was going to die or something. I'm not even trying to say that to be disrespectful, but it's just like when you've taken so much punishment in the ring and you know that you are losing, but you can see the result of your eye being closed shut. And I think both eyes were being, were hurt, if I'm not mistaken, from the fight, because I did watch the fight, but from the looks of it, it just seemed like when Dubois' left eye or right eye that was like completely shut, where he wasn't even able to see out of it, just took one more mean, crazy, deadly punch from Joyce. I just didn't want to see it anymore, because I felt like Dubois, he was going to literally get screwed. He was going to get completely mauled and decimated to the point where he couldn't even do anything. And that's why Joyce took advantage of it, because he knew that, if he kept up with his jab, then Dubois can't really do anything to him. And then Dubois is just going to just keep giving Joyce, the same opportunities that, that most fighters that don't correct their mistakes always end up in that position of getting knocked out. So Joyce took advantage of it. Dubois, he got, stopped. And I think it was a good stoppage. I think Dubois needs to find a brand new trainer and get the hell out of Britain. And he needs to start coming here to the U.S. and actually fighting top American heavyweight contenders, because, what else can I really say? It just felt like a huge embarrassment, or it looked like a huge embarrassment watching Dubois getting his ass beat by Joyce. And he knew he was going to lose if he kept it up. But it's just like he didn't make any adjustments. He didn't utilize any defense. And I think the issue is just that if Dubois used any means of, bobbing and weaving, using some form of, professional veteran tactics of hard countering off of Joyce's jab, working to the body, finding those little mistakes to break your opponents down, then he would have easily won that fight. But I think that, Joyce, he just got the better of Dubois, and Dubois, he got rocked, and I feel really bad because, well, I'm not saying that I feel bad. Well, I would say that I feel bad for Dubois, but I don't feel bad that he lost because he could have won this fight, by a very close, maybe split decision or a good unanimous decision if he wasn't fighting Joyce's fight. And that's what happened. Joyce took advantage of Dubois' weaknesses, and he finally, figured him out pretty easily because Dubois never made the adjustments to make himself, I guess less, readable to not get hit a lot. And sadly, he wasn't able to do that, so Joyce took advantage of him. And I think that, that's why so many heavyweight boxers don't really think, and it's really sad because, the heavyweight division is not really that good when it comes to defense, but when you got, really heavy hitters in the heavyweight division, a lot of heavyweights just don't think about defense. They think more about offense. And, that's not really how the sport should be. The sport needs to be more like hit and don't get hit. And Dubois, he never did any of that. I was actually expecting Dubois to at least use some form of defense because, I mean, you've had over 15 fights, well, now being 16, with you being 15-1 out of your recent loss. But it's just if you've already knew from the start that this guy's going to keep hitting you to, to your eye that, was getting hurt throughout the fight with that straight jab, then he should have kept his hands up a lot more to not let Joyce hit him, and then he would have been able to easily win the fight to break to break Joyce's confidence down, and then make him more of a, lesser threat by working to the body, take away his power, and then go for a knockout. And I think that's really what Dubois was doing. He was so focused on trying to get a knockout, and he shouldn't have been doing that. In this fight, he made himself very susceptible to destroying his game plan when he should have just taken it easy with Joyce. And once it came to the championship level rounds, yeah, then you break him down and then you go for a knockout. But throughout rounds 1 through 7, Dubois was literally trying to go for a knockout. He was trying so hard to just brawl with Joyce, and then Joyce, he was just literally outclassing him without the jab. And then sooner than later, once it came to round 10, Dubois' eyes got, well, I'd say both eyes, but the one eye that I think many of you will know that I'm talking about that was completely shut, where he wasn't even able to see out of it, which I'm really hoping that he's not, in any life-threatening condition, because, when one of your eyes is completely shut, that means either one thing. Either you could have a detached retina, or you probably have some form of a eye injury where you need to take a lot of time off and you need to work on your defense to not get put in a position of of you getting injured by those type of punches. Because as much as people like to just joke about boxing to say, oh, these fighters don't go through that much punishment after their fight, yes, they do. There's plenty of fighters that literally have life-ending injuries to their brain, to their to their organs. There's so many things that could happen in that ring, and I think a lot of people don't honor that from the sport, to say, hey, this guy, really needs to get himself checked out, because if he or she takes so many more blows in their next fight, they're gonna easily get killed. And that's really the issue of boxing. Fans of the sport don't realize the totality of the damage that these fighters be taking. And for a guy like Dubois being a heavyweight taking that much punishment, yeah, it's like, it's a big deal for someone that, should have been thinking smarter in the fight. But sadly, like, you live in, and you learn, and he took a very bad, route of getting TKO'd. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. All right, so yeah, basically with Dubois, um, he obviously just got outclassed, and Joyce wasn't even, taken to a point where Dubois made any, momentum comeback to take Joyce down. But I think for Dubois' career, he's definitely overhyped in some, overhyped in some manner. I think if he really wants to be well known for the heavyweight division, he needs to start fighting tougher level opponents, so that way he can understand where he is on the skill level, and get his name up there to start being taken seriously more if he wants to take over the heavyweight division. I think, I think this fight overall was, a very well equaled match at first, but it definitely fell off when Dubois never made the adjustments for Joyce, and then Joyce took advantage of his weaknesses. Because imagine if that was Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz would have easily knocked out Dubois if Dubois never used any form of defense, and he just kept getting jabbed. And I think that's really where that's really where it led to, with with Joyce knocking out or TKOing Dubois, which technically, he technically did knock him out, by TKOing him. But either way, it's just like Dubois. He just, made that one little mistake. He needs to really utilize defense, and I think he needs to get rid of his team and probably find a much better team, especially in the U.S. Probably just move out to Vegas and probably train with either Floyd or whoever. But I just think Dubois, if he really wants to, be up there with the top level guys, he really needs to work on defense. That is number one for anybody that gets into boxing. Defense wins championships. That's an old saying for basketball. That's definitely a all time must for boxing. Defense wins fights, or i.e. defense wins championships. But either way, I just wanted to put that out there because Dubois, he is definitely the type of guy that I wouldn't have expected him to get TKO'd. But from the looks of my angle, when I saw that fight, he definitely quitted. He definitely felt, or he definitely made me think, as a viewer of that fight, that you did not want to be there any longer than expected. Which, he could have still kept on fighting after he got knocked down. But I mean, I think his body was telling him, look, this guy's all fucked up, and you don't have too much to really hang on with. And I think it was like a good decision for him to not fight anymore, because I think that I definitely would have been I don't even know what to really say. I really feel bad, for his eye, because that eye is completely just shut and it looks like a blob. And sadly enough, that is what boxers go through, and that's why it is very vital to learn the art of getting hit, or to hit and not get hit. That's really what boxing needs to be, and not every boxer is like that. I get it, but when you get into these higher level fights, if you're trying to dominate your division, defense is always number one in boxing. I don't care whoever tries to tell you tell me different. If you're going to win championships in multiple divisions, or just in your division with multiple belts, you better know defense, because that is what gets you going to win more titles and to last longer in the sport. And I think Floyd Mayweather definitely defined that with his fights. But for the heavyweight division, there definitely needs to be those type of guys that can be defensive specialists and a knockout artist at the same time. So hopefully Dubois he can make his way to a brighter future. I think he will. He definitely got overhyped through his promotions of Frank Warren, and I really put the blame on Frank Warren. Maybe this was definitely not the type of fight that Dubois shouldn't have taken. But then again, I don't blame Dubois for taking this fight because he's actually a real fighter. He doesn't step away from competition. But I think for a guy that matches his style, maybe a heavyweight like Frank Sanchez would have been a much more exciting fight instead of Joe Joyce, because Frank Sanchez, he has speed, he has more durability, and he can throw a lot more punches at a level where he gets you pressured, and he will take advantage of anything that you give to him, where with his Cuban style, he likes to go in on you, but he can also use his defense too. So either way, Frank Sanchez and Dubois, they like to bang it out, but for a guy like Sanchez, he can easily fight off of the back foot. He can do so many things to make you feel uncomfortable. And I think Dubois, if he's going to make it far in the heavyweight division, he really needs to utilize those defensive mechanisms, so that way he can easily make adjustments, and then he could easily win his fights a lot better, and not have it to a point where he gets injured and then he has to have his fights stopped by the referee or ring doctor due to him not utilizing his defense and taking care of his body throughout the fight. Because, your health is your wealth, but if you don't use any form of defense, then guess what? You're going to get KO'd, or you're going to get, yeah. You're going to get stopped. So that's really where Dubois really screwed up in this fight. He relied too much on his power, and he wasn't relying on his defensive mechanisms. So I would really hope he could fix that, so that way come to the next fight, that can be resolved a lot quicker. So let me know in the comments of what you thought about this fight. I would like to hear. And this is K-Rod signing out, and I will be back for more boxing. All right, thank you. Bye.